Key. Welcome back to the Spirit Collective. Hello, happy family. And we're here again this week for more community blessings to continue to support everybody as we all are collectively experiencing really a quite transcendental moment in time, huh? So what I would like to bring onto the table in support of all of us in this community is just a couple of different things. And with our lovely group here, setting intentions and blessings and I don't know, in our gift categories, we do direct downloads, we do meditations, guidance, whatever you want to call it. We offer it to you freely from our hearts to yours in support of you. And the two things that I particularly have been captivated by this week are, first and foremost, is recognizing that there's a lot of unsteadiness, a lot of concern over welfare, and we are officially in the mode of having had folks lose their stability financially in terms of being able to sustain themselves. Maybe not everybody in the sense of going under per se, but we have also heard from many different families across the country that there has been an abrupt stopping of employment, and that's a little shaky for people. For those of us who are highly conscious of what our concerns are and highly conscious of our independence and our own abilities to support ourselves. So there is that we want to address with everybody to increase courage, increase an aspect that we may not have really thought about, which is contemplating the idea of being willing to receive. This is what I had noticed, was that receiving is incredibly uncomfortable to me, and it really speaks to my vulnerability, to my contributions, to it speaks to some of my old programming in regard to what's expected of me, what's expected of us as we grow up, how we hold ourselves responsible, et cetera, et cetera. So just to give an example of that, like last week I made it through the whole week with no cancellations on sessions as a massage therapist. That's pretty impressive. But as the week came to an end, the restrictions on social sizes, as well as even down to how many people are in the store at the same time, and physical distancing. As a massage therapist, obviously physical distancing is one for those of us that do this work is going to be questionable. And so so I've been playing it day by day, and holding that space open actually for anybody that feels that they would benefit from coming in rather than canceling. However, I will say that for the majority, I haven't worked in a few days. So the deep breath in regard to that, the deep breath in is the key element in these next few weeks, and implementing that deep breath within, keeping the flow. The interesting thing that was pointed out to me was though I have to make arrangements, like for example, we have rent at the shop, and then we have car bills, etc. I'm going to have to make arrangements to see if I can't get a pass for some of these things, right? Because that's just the way it is. And in the meantime, I've been the recipient of abundance, ironically. And this is what brings this whole idea to the table that I wanted to share with you guys. Is like a perfect example is people who love greatly, but maybe lack language sometimes on how to express that. their efforts, we really do. Remember that old phrase of actions speak louder than words? But we can so get caught up in the words. And so, I can tell you, like, it was such a chuckle to me. Somebody called and they're like, hey, how was your shopping experience? And so everything was pretty good last Sunday, except for I wasn't able to get any eggs for the first time. And, we know that this is what's going on. But I was like, we'll stop in every day and see if we can get a pack of eggs. Well, it hasn't happened. So interestingly enough, one of the seniors, the ones who are the community, is saying, hey, we want to set special time for you guys to come do your shopping so that you're protected and you're able to get in and out of here securely, et cetera, et cetera. So just the one thing, just eggs, right? We can live without eggs for a little while. And next thing you know, I get a call. Oh, guess what? I got my special senior time at the grocery store, and I just wanted to let you know I got you some eggs. And I know, and it was the sweetest thing. And then we get over there, and they're like, oh, wait, and I got you some pork, and I got you some hamburger, and I bought you some buns, and here's an extra toilet paper, and here's some paper towels, and here's some side dishes to go. And we're like, we got to go rearrange stuff in the freezer to make sure we have room for all of this abundance. But the most important thing was the look in their eyes to be able to give. Oh my gosh, it was like they found their purpose again. And I don't know if you guys have been the recipient of this. It's just such a beautiful thing. The world of love and the world of giving is being brought forth very powerfully. And that brings me to the next subject, and that is the power of our thoughts. And just in the sense of we are a small community, those of us who work in the healing fields, and we're sensitives and we're conscious of energy, and yet we too can fall into an experience of saying that things have got to change. The way our system's working, it's not nurturing or nourishing to all. And I think what we're really referring to, or what I know that we're referring to, is the expression of love. And what I wanted to attend to is the ebb and flow of fear as people are recalibrating both in the giving and the receiving of love. And what I wanted to speak to too was setting intention and blessings today to assist those that have stepped into leadership positions in our community and in our government, and invoking balancing energy to assist altruism. And I wondered what your guys' thoughts were on
unity. One
yes.
word, unity.
Yes, so if we could. Mm-hmm.
We are in a time period where finally, politically, emotionally, spiritually, we've achieved being separated, and we don't like it because we're not designed to be separated, because we're all individualized versions of the divine. So with love being the cause of the universe and what speaks to each one of our hearts, I'd like to open prayer session around the notion of unity. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful that your seniors were able to grab some things that you needed and give them to you, because what that did was they heard your needs in their heart. Mm. We want to see each other's needs through our heart, not our mind. And so that notion that we are all one, when people really have a serious crisis and they can't access love the way they usually, when we can't take things for granted anymore. So the blessing is around unity. And anyone else can pick up that thought and add to it. But that, when I was listening to you, Johnny Ann, that's really what we have to be unified, because we share the planet, we share the country, we share the stock market, we share the grocery stores. We're all so interwoven. There's no taking us apart. Mm-hmm. So it's the butterfly effect, right? If a butterfly flaps its wings in Japan, we feel it energetically all around the planet. So this requires the essence of patience, of love, of forbearance, and actualization. And my prayer for those that are having a really hard time sitting still and being within themselves, some people are being invited for the very first time to be still and know that there's a God.
Mm.
That there is a divine purpose and a justice and a mercy going on through all of this. And my prayer is for those that don't yet feel that connection.
Mm-hmm.
Because that immediately invokes a sense of peace and I'm protected. This will
Yes.
turn out okay.
Yes, the feeling of safety within
Mm-hmm.
is really being brought into our consciousness, and the things that I really felt drawn to ask for in order to receive. I've really been drawn to asking and expressing that I'm not. It's not that I'm not doing okay. It's just that I'm not able to do what I do. And in that sense, that it disrupts the flow, and it does create a little bit of separation, even though my heart is in the same space. And so open communication, dialoguing, checking in with people, it's much more than a customer or a client practitioner kind of relationship. The interweaving with each other's lives, if there's anything that we can do to support each other outside of our original relationship, and also just really asking to step into the true power and grace that each of us has to be able to hear a need, sense a need, and without repercussion, without pulling away from something else, and without having any kind of, I don't know how to explain this. There truly is there's no motivation behind it other than to recognize that you are me and I am you, and asking for an increase in that in all peoples, but in particularly peoples who have that responsibility of being the one voice for a group of other people. So to encourage that thoughtfulness from the heart space. If this action takes place, what is the counteraction, or the, how do we call it? What would be the chain reaction? Because we all know that, like you said, with the butterfly effect, we all know that every action sets something into motion, and desiring that motion be beneficial to the majority to the best of our abilities. How about you guys? What have you been sensing for the week? I know, Amy, that you personally, personally have been experiencing everything that's coming in fast and furious right now. You have personally been experiencing and knowing, sitting in that knowing that you're doing and being the right human this whole time. But you've had, like, you've been prepping, right? You've been prepping. And, I would love to hear from you, like, some of the aspects that have really helped anchor and support you in your spirit.
Well, I would say probably the week before last, though, I was feeling the collective fear, collective anxiety, and anger. So that was a little hard to realize, wait, this isn't me. This is what everyone is feeling. And I had that for probably a few days before.
Did it really hit you in the stomach? Yeah, it was very, very visceral, very specific in the stomach. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really unsettling to, and I mean, I was feeling a little anxious too because there's so much uncertainty in my life right now. Um, but then to feel it on the collective, it felt so much heavier, just so much heavier. Um, so I was saying a lot of prayers around that. But what I kept coming through for me really is how this event really is here as a messenger, like we were saying, to remind us how we all are interconnected, not just with each other, but with nature, with animals.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think Kathleen was speaking about that, feeling like we're kind of separate. It's that's what keeps coming through to me, and the fact that we're not quite realizing this or getting that message. This pandemic is continuing to expand instead of us receiving the message.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So can we, Ofer, you're so amazing at heart space openings. Would you be willing to assist us in setting that intention of expansion, of getting the message?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Beautifully.
Okay. And I love the themes of unity and ebb and flow and expansion. They're all fitting together really well. And so let's recognize and acknowledge each of us that we have a higher self, a spirit that is part of that unity of the divine. And we recognize it in ourselves and we acknowledge it in each other because we're all really very similar in that way. And let's acknowledge also the spirit, the divine, just turn everything that needs to be done, that needs to be figured out, that needs to be thought, that needs to be invented, that is so hard to maybe understand, comprehend, conceive. Let's turn all this to the divine. And the divine is mixing it up in the juices of creation and then sending us these healing streams of whatever is needed for us to transform these times into something that will really pull us, pushes, and allow us to move forward in a way that is serving beautifully each one of our purposes. Each one of us has a purpose here. And maybe these times we're asking, why am I here and what is there for me to do? And so let's align the divine to answer that for us. And with your awareness, just move into your physical heart, into that beating heart, because there is a space in there that is called the sacred space of the heart, where not only the heart is beating and not only there is this beautiful electricity that is driving the entire body, but there is also a very divine space where you see and feel and hear something that is very unique to you, that only you can see, that is sacred. And here you can invite your higher self and your consciousness to become one. And immediately you feel the shift and ask for divine light from above and from inside your heart to come in and out and around. And really you're becoming like a beam or a column of light. And you can ask anything you need to know, anything you want to intend. That's a great place for that, right here in the sacred space of the heart. So these ebbs and flows, you can ask any questions of why about these ebbs and flows and the change that is coming and the change that is to come and the not knowing, and ask and receive what you need to support you right now. One answer that I get, for example, is that, you know, there is no time and there is no space. And even in my day job, I can see that happening as we're not going to the office anymore and we're working from home, and we can still connect as if we're together, and we can still connect it across time zones around the entire world. And it's time where we don't like to be alone. The truth is, we're never alone. And maybe what's required is this receiving of divine light, and really the ability to sit quietly and observe how that is true, how there's all kind of veils around us that now can be lit up and be removed. Maybe one of them is that there's scarcity around us, that there's not enough. That's an illusion. It was never true, and it is not true. As you are in this light of yours, you can know instantly how eternal you are and how you're not dependent on any of these worries of the moment, because you'll go past them. You always do. We always do. We go past them. And then they just become our collective memory. And like Amy, I woke up one night, several nights ago, and I just felt all these feeling that I could just describe as fear in me. And I did not know how to explain it. I mean, of course, the brain knows that there's all this stuff going on, but I could not really line up with that fear. And then it dawned on me that, yeah, I do feel the fear of humanity, the fear of everybody around me. And as I felt that, I also felt deep grief, because it's almost like we're being sentenced to suffer. As you go into your heart and you stand in your heart, you can see how, when united, when we're one with one another through this beautiful, loving, bright light that you are in your heart, and we're all parts of oneness, we're not alone, and we're not broken, and we're never going to be broken either. So these are the veils that we have an opportunity to really start seeing through, and recognize that we are here. We are here now. Just look around and acknowledge that you are here now, and you are with this light that is coming your way, and you can take this light and do with it whatever you want. This is light of creation, and you can create inside of your heart your intention as a picture of what's there to be as oneness with creation. That's your birthright, to be a part of creation. And so create this intention, maybe expressed in a picture or in a knowing of what is there to be for you, for humanity. And then take this small picture that you have in the heart and feel how clear and bright and love-filled and beautiful it is, and expand it to a size of a sphere around your entire body, and then further expand it 10 feet around you and 50 feet around you. See this bright picture, and there might be an element of peace and joy, unity, ebbs and flows, but they are like river that is also always there, regardless of what's changing, and how everything expands and expands to contain everything we need. And once you see it very clearly, just let it go. You've done your part. It's not hard, and do it often.
Mm.
And take a deep breath, and I'm back here.
Oh, thank you. That's so doable.
That was beautiful.
And it spoke so much to what I was feeling about that. We have the ability to collect whatever we want to collect in our thoughts. And let's project that incredible landscape of timelessness, all the elements present. I don't know about you guys, but I was at the park. Everybody was barbecuing. The kids were running around getting hot and sweaty. The dogs were catching frisbees. And I was just in that graceful moment of the pleasure that we all desire, and then we limit, and then desire, and then limit. And we have such a gift right now, this weird freedom of time. And I say freedom because technically, it's not costing us anything really to be present. And just knowing it's like, oh, my daughter's out there, in this moment, we may not be together. We're both doing our activities. Somebody's at work, somebody's taking care of the dog, but the dog's super happy right now because all the people are around. My dog might even be losing weight. It's just, wow. So yes, setting that vision for the week and incorporating one's breath. Keep breathing and smell the sweetness in the air, smell the spring, watch those amazing transformations as the world around us is bursting open. Watch the birds. The one thing that we noticed as children, maybe not so much as adults, and they're just abundant, and they're like all these different races of birds. That's the only way I could describe the robins, the finches, the hawks, the blue jays, the crows, and it's just like the turkeys, the peacocks. Oh my gosh, they are just having a party. They're singing like no tomorrow. And so where would I have been if I wasn't here to enjoy this? So yes, including all of our winged friends, including all of our plant life, including all of our four-leggeds, our fluffy ones, our fuzzy ones, everybody. Absolutely. Thank you.
But above all, look inside.
Mm-hmm.
That's, Oprah's message is, this is a time, if you can settle down your housemates, because I used to live in a very crowded house, so it's a little hard with the sound. But if you can find, especially early in the morning, if you wake up before the sun rises, that's a great time to look inside your heart. And many, many spiritual traditions say that's when God is closest. That's when spiritual power and access is very, very close. The world sleeps, but you can be there so fast and so easily. Mm-hmm. So as we bless ourselves and each other, and we look into the God light within us, you can take your senses and close them off and just let those senses turn in on you and land right in the very beginning when your little heart started to beat in your mommy's womb and you agreed to be human. Well, this is what the divine has asked of you in this time. So we bow our thinking heads closer to our heart, and we open into our heart space to remember that we are divine beings having a human experience. And so it is. We bow and we praise the creation of our life. and this is the moment. It's all good and beautiful.
So till we meet again,
Mm,
space keepers.
Allah. That's right.
My
A
love.
Federation of Light Workers. We're light
Federation of
workers.
Light Workers.
Yep.
Okay, go forth and be a rainbow.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right, love you all.
Blessings.
See you
Good
soon.
night.
Good night.
Happy.
Bye bye.
Bye.